guys, this is Ivis, and I just wanted to do a real quick video going over the very basics of how to read logs that are posted from baby raiders. So we're going to start with the Discord. If you look on the left in the information tab, you'll see raid logs. We click on that and we see a list of logs posted. For the purposes of this, we're going to look at the logs that Devil posted last night. We click over to that and we see this black page, and it's got encounters and trash fights, and it's got a list of bosses, the kill times, and the location. We're going to be looking at Lady Enerva. So clicking on Lady Enerva, we see the summary page of what happened in that fight. It's just, it's got a basic list. It's got the tanks, the DPS, the healers, and an overview of DPS and heal rankings and that sort of thing. We're going to go where it says summary, then damage done, damage taken, healing, threat, buffs. We're going to come over and we're going to click on damage done. From here we see a breakdown of the damage done during the fight. This is the part that everyone cares about. We're looking at Lady Enerva. Here on the left we have the parse percentage. Parse refers to how you compare to other people of your class on the same fight. People, but my parse and all of that thing, that's what they're talking about. Generally speaking, you want that number to be high. However, if you look over at eye level percentage, this is your eye level parse. This is how well you are doing compared to people who are your eye level, because of course people are going to do more damage or do more healing if they have gear that's 20 levels higher than you. So the eye level parse is really how you look at how you are doing, because it's comparing to other people who are of your similar gear level. And that tells you what you really can do. Next to that is active time. Generally speaking, you want this number to be as high as possible. It shows you how much time you spend in the fight actually doing what you're supposed to be doing. So if your active time is low, usually it's because you have, died early, because maybe you're not sure what's going on in the fight, so you stand there, you move a lot, that sort of thing. There are things that can cause active time to drop. There are fights that have enforced periods of can't do anything. But generally speaking, if there's a big gap in your active time versus the other people's in your raids, that's a sign that you need to be working on something. We're going to come over here, we're going to click on Devil Wench because he was kind enough to post the logs and I'm using him as an example. Clicking on that, we have a breakdown of what he has done during the raid itself, all of his abilities. You can see it also shows, how many casts, his uptime, the DPS of each of his individual abilities. All of this can be used to, help you figure out what you're doing that does good damage versus, what you need to, spend more time getting uptime up on, or that sort of thing. But right now we're going to jump over at the top where it says, this is where it says analyze. We're going to jump over to where it says compare. And we have now a list. It says you can do comparisons manually, or you can compare two players in this report. For our purposes, since there was only one warlock and we're using Devil as our example, we're going to do the search for parses similar to yours using the options below, which is just a drop-down menu. Once we click on Devil Wench, we get a few parses from other characters and other guilds. Basically what we're looking at is all of these people are going to be within a close eye level of Devil, and they're all going to be from runs approximately the same size as ours. So we're looking over here where it says match. We want to pick the highest one. In this case, it's Priggles with 73%. So if we click on Priggles, it will take us to a compare screen. And that just gives a good side-by-side of just, you know, how you're doing versus, you know, a person in a similar fight with a similar gear level. From the main screen of the log, you can copy the URL and take it to a site called wowanalyzer. And wowanalyzer is just exactly like it sounds. You paste the URL in, you get taken to a list of the fights included on the log. Again, we're going to click on Lady Enerva Darkvein kill. Clicking on that gives you a list of, you know, everyone who participated, all of the raid buffs we had access to. I mean, we had priests, so we had fort, we had warriors, so we had battle shout, we had mage, so we had int. And also it'll do things like it'll give, you know, it'll list the spec, the covenant, and the eye level, so you can get a quick look. But again, we're clicking on Devil Wench. Since the patch is relatively recent, it has not been fully updated yet, but we're going to proceed anyway. And we are given a checklist and an overview. If you see, you know, all of these things are yellow with the exception of utility and defensive spells, you want all of these to be as yellow as possible. That means you're doing things right. But we're going to click over maintain your dots and debuffs. And it shows his agony uptime is very high, his unstable affliction uptime is very high. Basically, it's telling him he's doing everything right here. And then if you scroll down, it will offer suggestions, and, you know, it'll also on the right list if the suggestion is a average, minor, or major importance. That's a good thing to get an idea of what you should be looking at. If you go over to the next tab, which is statistics, it just gives a, you know, general breakdown of, you know, how your DPS looked, how your uptime looked, how much you moved, which could be really important if you're moving a lot in fights which are not high mobility, or conversely if you're not moving in fights which are high mobility. So we've gone over that quickly. Quickly for healing, this is just back at Lady Darkvein. We're looking at the healing parse. Again, you see the parse numbers, the overheal, the eye level parse, the active uptime. Again, healing is weird. Healing is, you can only heal the damage that there is. Generally speaking, overheal and eye level and parse percentages, all of these things are going to vary a lot based on number of healers slash the amount of healing needed versus the number of healers. So generally speaking, if you see high overheal or see healers with particularly low eye level parses, it's because all of the healing is being done before they get to it. But we're going to look at myself. You can see, you know, a general breakdown. It shows my individual spells, how much overheal they have, how much HPS they do. The graph at the top is just, it shows like when things were cast and you know, when in the fight. Each of those little colored sections is a different spell. And again, we're going to come back over to Warcraft logs. This is a much more average log analysis than Devil has. If you see, I've got yellow, I've got orange, I've got red. It's yelling at me for various things. And then scroll down my suggestions. I need to cast Desperate Prayer more often. I didn't cast Holy Word Salvation during that fight. My downtime was high. Healing also has the statistics, which will show you, you know, what your HPS is for various talents and abilities, things like Holy Priest have Holy Word reduction, that sort of thing. But we also get mana efficiency, which is super, super useful for figuring out like what is your best spell to use in various circumstances. It shows both the healing per mana spent and the healing per second spent casting. So yeah, that is a brief overview, well, maybe not so brief overview of reading logs. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any further questions, this is honestly about the extent of my knowledge, but I know that there are many people in Guild who can answer more specific questions than that. So yeah, thanks, and I will see you guys Monday.